Hello, my name is Chad Seibert, and I will be presenting my capstone project for partial fulfillment of the requirement for the degree of Master of Science in Physical Education at Azusa Pacific University. This paper is part of the course PE 589, PE and Exercise Science Capstone. The title of my paper is Building Winning Teams Through Positive Culture. Team cohesiveness is a shared perception, and there is a strong relationship between cohesion and success. The purpose of this study was to investigate team culture, team cohesion, and how those factors affect winning and losing. The central research question this study examined were: does negative culture detract from team unity? How does positive culture affect teams? How does coaching style affect culture? And does culture affect winning and losing? There are many factors that contribute to winning in sports, but culture may be one of the most important elements. Culture is pervasive. It is present in nearly every single walk of life. There are many different kinds of sports culture. Culture within sports can be positive, negative, or differentiating. Culture can contribute to team cohesion, or it can tear individuals apart. When it is time to play the game, the amount of positive culture can greatly influence the outcome of a match. In team sports, creating a sense of identity and cultural inclusion can go a long way to bind players together and contribute to winning. My values, faiths, and beliefs have a major impact on the study that I decided to conduct. A positive mental attitude is the basis of a Christian faith. Humans are limited in what they can see and know in this life, and faith is believing in what we cannot see. A positive attitude acknowledges that while we cannot fix every problem, we can rest surely in the power and mercy of God. In the same way that God leads us, coaches must try to exemplify the same care and assurance for their team. By developing good leadership skills and developing positive culture, coaches are educating the next generation, and they are showing what it means to live a life of faith. Clifton and Anderson developed a personality assessment inventory to help individuals discover their strengths. Some important strengths of coaches included strategic, futuristic, activator, command, and ideation. Each of these 5 strengths can help develop successful coaches. Strategic strength is an important talent to have as a coach. Coaches have to be able to identify the best strategies, talent, and paths to success from a wide range of incoming information. Futuristic ability allows coaches to anticipate and envision the next move before it happens. Coaching can have many ups and downs, but by focusing on the hope for tomorrow, coaches with the futuristic strength are able to move on from defeat and problems and raise the spirits and morale of their team. Activator strength is something that should come naturally to coaches because the world judges teams on wins and losses. Coaches need to be action-based and not be afraid to back up their decisions. Command is an important quality that coaches should possess. Coaches need to be able to take charge, not be afraid to speak up, and resolve problems without fear. Coaches should instill a culture with standards, not rules. Finally, the ideation strength is a quality that coaches should possess because it allows them to come up with creative and unique solutions. Coaching is a constant learning process, and good coaches can integrate many different approaches and form new ideas based on a vast array of knowledge. For my literature review, the first article I will discuss is titled Group Cohesion and Positive Youth Development in Sports Athletes. The authors examined group cohesion and perception of positive youth development. They wanted to understand how to optimally impact the personal and social development youth in the context of extracurricular sports. The participants in this study included 424 male and female athletes from 35 high school sports teams, completed a questionnaire and survey that covered youth experiences in sports. The researchers found that greater levels of positive youth development were found at an individual level when perceptions of task and social cohesion existed. Some of these individual benefits from group cohesion included personal sacrifice, effort, and satisfaction. The authors also found a correlation between a caring team climate and individual athletes' enjoyment, perception of the team and coaches, and commitment to youth sports. The authors concluded that coaches should strive to foster a cohesive environment that emphasizes task and social aspects in order to further enrich positive youth development. The article shows the psychological interactions between task cohesion and positive youth development. The way that the team and individual interact is based much on perception, and this is important for coaches and administrators to remember when they are developing teams. The next article I will discuss is titled Leadership and Organizational Culture Transformation in Professional Sport. The author examined how organizational culture can impact a team's performance. The author hypothesized that lack of success of certain teams can be directly attributed to poor organizational culture. For this study, participants included 32 different leaders of sporting organizations that were interviewed based on specific criteria that included decision making, win percentage, and losing seasons prior to winning. The author used an interpretive analysis process to identify pertinent data from the interviews. 5 different themes emerged from these interviews. The first theme included identifying dysfunctional culture and attitudes that led to negative culture within an organization. The second theme was instituting a new way of being within an organization that included new values, changes in personnel, employee growth, and explicit communication. The third theme was walking the talk, where a vision is implemented and everyone in the organization moves towards those goals. The fourth theme focused on embedding new culture through values and philosophies embedded into organizations through leadership. The fifth theme was Our Way, where participants felt a shift in culture and team cohesion and tradition arose. The authors concluded that the understanding of the organizational culture can change process and change culture is a benefit for a team. This source is important because of the different levels of cohesion and organization that are outlined. Without good leadership, it's difficult for a team to be cohesive and develop a positive culture. Change begins from the top down, and the attitude and outlook of a leader directly impacts the players. The third article I will discuss is titled The Relationship Between Leadership Behaviors and Group Cohesion in Team Sports. The authors investigated the relationship between leadership behavior and group cohesion within the context of a team. Participants included 189 baseball players and 118 softball players from 6 community colleges and 6 high schools from large urban areas of California. Participants filled out 3 different demographic questionnaires. The results of the surveys showed that perceived and preferred leader behaviors, as well as self-reported leader behaviors, were related to team cohesion. Although the findings did not support cause and effect relationships, the authors concluded that the high task cohesion on a team is fostered by a leadership style that is strong in training, social support, democratic behavior, and positive feedback. The relationship between leader behaviors and cohesion in natural groups has not received much attention, which is why this article is important. Leadership style is important to building good, positive team chemistry, and every leader of a team needs to be aware of the impact that they have on positive youth development. The next section I will discuss is the methodology used for this paper. The procedure used for this study included a series of surveys for all participants. First, ethical approval was obtained from the coaches of each team. I contacted the local high school's principal for permission to enter the schools and also obtained permission from the athletic director of the college. After permission was obtained, the two schools agreed to participate in my study. I conducted the study in a classroom before the basketball practice. A brief description of the study was provided to participants, and parental or participant consent forms were distributed. The questionnaires and survey took approximately 25 minutes for participants to complete. The survey used both quantitative and qualitative questions. The participants in the study included 35 basketball players from the southeast area of the United States. All players were male, ranging in age from 15 to 23. The survey consisted of a demographic questionnaire, a team cohesion survey, and a team cohesion interview survey. The demographic questionnaire gathered basic information about the participants. The survey gathered information about the perceived dimensions of the team. The survey consisted of 20 questions. The dimensions included coaching style, social support, feedback, instructional behavior, and training and instruction. Item responses were recorded on a 5-point Likert scale, and scores for each team cohesion survey were produced by summing up all responses and dividing by the number in each category. The team cohesion interview questions are a set of questions designed to evaluate team cohesiveness. Individuals were asked questions about their individual role on the team and the feelings about the team integration. These questions measured an individual team member's feelings about their personal involvement and social cohesiveness within the group. It also measured the cohesiveness of the group around task activities. The interview included 15 questions. The results gathered indicate that there is a strong relationship between coaching staff and winning. Team culture was strong on all three teams, so there was no relationship between culture and winning. Team 2 exhibited the strongest positive relationships in all areas of cohesion, and they are also the winningest team that was surveyed. Individual perception was also weaker for teams 1 and 3. The data suggests that there are relationships between coaching staff, individual perception of team cohesion, and winning. Important analysis of the quantitative results include the following points. Participants reported consistent perceptions about their coaches, coaching style for each team, and how players feel this affects their performance. Coaching staff had a good relationship with one team, but the other two teams reported dissatisfaction with their coaches. Team culture was high and cohesive for all three teams. Individuals were very content with their place on one team, and the other two teams had mixed results. Two teams had nearly equal wins and losses, while one team was highly successful. The qualitative results from the first set of questions on the team cohesion interview survey produced two major themes. First, team unity is linked with individual satisfaction, and second, perceived team culture is important for team cohesion. First, I will discuss the tie between team unity and individual satisfaction. Teams that win build culture around each other, rather than having a sense of individual entitlements. Winning is a major component that will bind teams together. Winning has a positive effect on the overall morale of each individual and helps to create a sense of team over self. However, it is not clear if the sense of unity and team cohesion arises from winning or if cohesion precipitates winning. One individual wrote, "We lose a lot of games and I don't feel that my skills are utilized. Our team feels like a lot of individuals trying to pad their stats instead of a team competing to win with each other." The second major theme that arose from the first set of questions on the TCIS was that perceived team culture is important for team cohesion. Participants on all teams consistently answered that team unity and bonding was important to establish a cohesive team with its own unique culture. Participants reported that spending time with one another was a major factor and brought them together as a team. They reported unique handshakes and language as being a bonding factor for the team. The strong cultural alignment allows them to have a positive culture and increases team cohesiveness. One individual wrote, I feel like there are a lot of inside jokes that my teammates and I have with one another. Everything from the words that we use and pregame routines makes us feel like we are special and set us apart from other teams. The second set of questions from the Team Cohesion Interview Survey were posed relating to the participants' perceived view of coaching style and its effect on culture. Through analyzing the qualitative responses of the participants, three major themes became evident. 1. Positive motivation is linked with team unity. 2. Coaching staff has a large effect on team unity. And 3. That authoritarian style coaching is not effective for promoting team unity. Participants reported that a positive motivational climate brings them together as a team. Participants who reported a negative motivational climate also described how this was detrimental to team unity and cohesiveness. The answers for these provided a definitive line between positive and negative motivation. Participants were more open to negative feedback from their peers rather than their coaches. The results strongly support a positive coaching environment to promote team cohesion. One person wrote, Our coaches have our backs. They support us no matter what and stress that winning is not the goal. But being a strong team is the most important thing. We play to the best of our abilities and we let the score take care of itself. The coaching staff has a large effect on team unity. As leadership goes, the team also goes. Players found it difficult to be leaders on teams where coaching staff were negative, and this had a detrimental effect on their team unity. Participants from teams 1 and 3 spoke to the negative culture that the staff had used and how it was difficult to be cohesive while they were on the court. However, it did not seem to affect off-court culture of the team, as all teams were still heavily bonded by their cultural ties. Here's one comment. I think our coaching staff negatively affects team unity. They are always yelling at us, and especially during games, this is embarrassing. I do not want my parents and friends in the stands to think I am not performing my best or trying my hardest. That style that coaches use to coach players has a strong link to their perception of team unity and cohesiveness. Coaches that are authoritarian do not allow feedback from players, and participants recorded a disconnect between coaches and players on these teams. A cohesive team includes not only the players, but also the bonds between players and coaches. On teams with authoritarian style coaching, the bond was not strong. In contrast, coaches who used more democratic coaching styles valued their players' input more, and these participants reported stronger team unity. One participant commented, Our coach is definitely an authoritarian figure, and we view him as separate from the team. It is his way or no way, and I don't think that it really helps us to feel that we are in this together. The predominant themes in both the quantitative and qualitative analysis centered on team unity, individual satisfaction, perceived team culture, and positive coaching styles. The strongest link appears between a positive, motivational coaching staff, team cohesion, and winning. Individual perception appears to be the second most important link between team cohesion and winning. Much has been written about team culture and cohesion. The present findings support the literature on the link between negative culture and a lack of team unity. Culture and cohesion are fostered in many different ways within a team environment. Athletic teams support the fundamental need of a human to be part of a group within a social context. Negativity within a group can lead to a lack of cohesion. This is reflected in the data gathered from the teams. Team 3 indicated an overwhelming lack of team unity and an inability to rely on teammates. Their overall group cohesion suffered on many levels, which is reflected in their individual feelings of contentment and happiness with being part of a team. In contrast, Team 2 consistently reflected positive perception of team unity and emotional connection with teammates. Individually, participants on this team reflected contentment and happiness, and team cohesion is evident. Coaching is very important for successful athletic teams. Some leadership behavior should not be used by coaches, as it breeds negative culture and a lack of team cohesion. The literature shows that the use of this negativity within coaching can lead to emotional problems and disorders among youth. Participants in this study who felt that they lacked clarification in roles were coached in demeaning way also indicated that their team lacked cohesion. Coaches that use demotivating coaching technique deter athletes from participating in sports, reduce team cohesion, and deter success. Specific coaching behaviors, which include abusive language, improper relationships, the inability to communicate, and the use of ridicule, can negatively affect athletes. In the participants' survey for this study, many of these factors were mentioned, and they were connected with the feelings of alienation. John Wooden, one of the best college basketball coaches of all time, who won an unprecedented 7 national titles in a row, always stressed to his teams that they must function together as a united group. He emphasized positive feedback to give his players and the team confidence in their abilities. The confidence encouraged continued participation and engagement in the team process. An effective team is built on a foundation of mentally strong members. Participants in this study who were part of teams with strong cohesion indicated clear task roles, positive motivation techniques, and strong team culture. When coaches establish good foundations for teams, they form excellent group cohesion and can ultimately teach teams to self-manage to achieve goals. Much can be learned from watching successful teams and coaches. There are many future recommendations that arise from this study. Psychological aspects of cohesion are important and need to be detailed and further explored. The current study shows how perception is such an important aspect of team cohesion. This shows how important psychology is to team cohesion and should be explored further in future studies. Another area for future study comes from Frontiera, who studied the effect of good organization on winning teams and cohesion. The author suggested that a study that seeks perspectives of many members at multiple levels of an organization can help provide perspective on team culture. This could include managers, coaches, superintendents, players, and even fans. By cross-referencing this information, important themes on cohesion could emerge. In conclusion, the link between positive culture and team cohesion were highly supported by the results of my paper and supporting research. Team cohesion stems from positive motivation coaching and individual task delineation that underlies positive team culture. Team cohesion has a positive correlation with winning as well. This study concludes that the predominant themes that lead to team cohesion include individual satisfaction with perceived team culture and positive coaching styles.